Hey, everybody. My name is David Newman. I'm the author of the book MarketEminence, and I was just on the Online Prosperity Show with my friend Prosper. We talked about market eminence. We talked about being the go-to expert in your field. We talked about rising above the noise, the role of AI, how you should be using AI and how you should not be using AI, and what it takes to be in the top 5% of your industry as an executive, as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, coach, or expert. I think you will get a tremendous amount of value from this episode. Tune in and check it out.
Welcome back to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, the number one place where coaches, consultants, and founders, and should I say experts, tune in for proven strategies, real stories, and exclusive methods from the people that are actually moving markets and obviously not just talking about them. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and you might hear from our voice today. I'm actually shaking in my boots because I think today we have on the show marketing royalty. Now, David, welcome to the show.
Prosper, it's great to be here. Thank you. I forgot my crown, but it's great to be called marketing royalty. Thank you so much.
Well, like I was telling you earlier on, I've been geeking out on your stuff. There's a lot of people that come into your space and they stay for the long haul and they actually create what they call market eminence. And I think we're going to be talking about a whole lot of that today. So I'm really pleased that we've got you there. But for those that are meeting David for the very first time, let me just take you from under that internet rock you've been hiding under and maybe frame this in such a way that maybe if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but somehow you're just sitting in that best kept secret corner of the internet, then I think the book we're going to be talking about today and the man behind it is also going to be your saving grace. Or you've been in your industry and you've watched somebody with literally half your talent get twice the visibility and you know you could do better. And you maybe just end up relegated to being compared to price. Then also the book we're going to be talking about today is going to be your saving grace. Or if you ever wondered, how do I become the face, the voice, the brand my market can't actually ignore? Then today's episode is that turning point for you. Because as I've already introduced David Newman, he's a keynote speaker, best-selling author, category-of-one creator, and quite possibly, I think the only man on earth who can actually teach you market eminence and beat you at Pac-Man in one same afternoon. So I can't wait to couple along as we go on there. And if you're listening right now and you've ever played maybe Atari, Nintendo, or maybe lost a few hours to Donkey Kong, I think you're already spiritually connected to David. And if you haven't, I think that's the reason why you're still chasing clients and you're not attracting them all at the same time. So wherever you are right now, make sure you subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and just hold on to your seats because I think this one is going to be a good one. Now, David, I could go on and talk about things that I'm not even qualified to talk about. You say market eminence. What is that, and why should we worry about that?
Yes. Great questions. So the problem that I was setting out to solve with this book is, what does it take to get you, your product, your service, your company, your brand, your cause noticed in this crazy, hyper noisy, AI-driven world? And my answer to that is three parts. Part number one is visibility, because visibility is very important. No one buys products or services or expertise sight unseen. So job number one is to get seen, but it's to get seen by the right people in the right way. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Part two is respect. And respect comes from knowing your target market so intimately that you know their pains, problems, heartaches, headaches, challenges. They feel that you have installed video cameras in their homes and offices. They feel that you have put listening devices into their phones because you know exactly what they're going through. You know exactly what they're up against. And by extension, that respect comes from the feeling that when they look at your material, they say, oh, Prosper, you get me. You understand what I'm up against. You know what I'm going through. And that level of you get me, when they look at your homepage and they say, I felt like you were talking directly to me. When they see your latest blog post, they say, I don't know how it happened, but it feels like you wrote that just for me, for the situation that I'm in right now. So that's part two, is respect. Part three is brand preference. And brand preference is a combination of differentiation and positioning so that it actually seems risky, dangerous, and dumb to hire anyone other than you. And I'll repeat that for our viewers. It's going to be risky, dangerous, and dumb to hire anyone else. So you are the safest choice. You are the smartest choice. You are the choice that resonates with them the most, and they want to be connected to you. They want to be associated with you, your company, your services, your brand. So those three things combined, the visibility, the respect, and the brand preference, I put that together in a formula that I call MarketEminence.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for bringing up that to the table, because, David, all I thought was I needed a phone and, you know, like we were joking earlier, a pair of sweatpants and just speak to a microphone and maybe start a podcast and just show up to the world. What could go wrong?
Have you had clients that have come to you, Prosper, and said, I thought I just had to put a whole bunch of content out there and then the world would open up and the leads would flood in? And Prosper, that's not what happened. I'm getting ignored. I'm getting overlooked. I've got 2 likes and 5 views and 3 comments, and my content's going nowhere. And I think when that happens, they're so committed to sounding smart, and they're so committed to being liked that they blend in. Like it's a recipe for commoditization. And so these are 2 things that I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners and experts need to let go of. We need to stop worrying about sounding smart, because our version of sounding smart means let me sound like everyone else that does what I do. And we need to let go of being liked, because being liked means you're casting as wide a net as possible, and you're never going to catch the premium fish when you're casting a wide a net as possible.
Absolutely. I think it's a Russian proverb that says if you chase 2 rabbits, you're going to catch none. Okay.
That's right.
So let's maybe dial this back a little bit. I mean, obviously, we've already established you need to be visible. There needs to be that respect, and there needs to be that differentiation where people are equally dumb to, not work with you. But
Yes.
You would understand a lot of people that end up in these sort of situations are experts in their own right. They have come from an expert sort of position where you wear a suit and you obviously don't have to say much. Your work speaks for you, or your credentials are the ones
Yes.
that sort of speak for you. What do you say to that sort of feel in the marketplace?
So I think the people that are the most disappointed with our online world are the ones that think their work should speak for themselves. So I wish it were the case. I wish there was a global meritocracy, and the people with the highest value, the most integrity, the most fantastic moral and ethical compass, those people would automatically rise to the top of every market. But unfortunately, we're not hired based on our expertise. We are hired only on the perception of our expertise. So as you mentioned in the introduction, there are people out there who are doing fantastic, amazing work. Their clients love them. They have raving fans, testimonials. To a stranger, though, they're a nobody. They have to start this whole convincing and persuading and proving themselves over and over and over again. And imagine, I want you to imagine, this is a kind of a fun scenario. You're a professional services firm, you're some kind of consultant, coach, expert. You just got off a call with your most long-standing favorite client, someone who has given you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they are just going, oh my God, Prosper, this session was amazing. What you just shared with me is worth the price of admission of our entire consulting contract. I can't believe this. I'm on fire. I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You hang up that call. 15 minutes later, you have a new business development call with a prospect. Prospect has no idea who you are. They have checked out nothing online about you. They haven't even bothered to look because they're lazy, busy, befuddled. You're basically one of 5 firms that they're going to call and set up an appointment with. Now, you were just the rock star of the universe a moment ago. You have tangible proof that what you do is amazing, valuable, impactful. Clients love it. They're getting incredible results. And now this other person's coming in and they're saying, so what is it you do exactly? And how is it different? And how much is it? I mean, that's my real question is how much is it? What's your hourly rate? Is it $100 an hour, $80 an hour, $60 an hour, or $40 an hour? Because honestly, I'd love to pay $40 an hour for what you do. And it's like an out-of-body experience. You're like, what happened from 15 minutes ago? I was the king or the queen of the world, and now I'm a beggar and I'm a pauper, and I'm chasing and convincing and persuading and trying to prove myself to this person who has no idea of my capabilities and competencies and the amazing results we get, and I'm back to square zero again and again and again. So, to solve that problem, we need to take what's going on with your clients and move it to what's going on with your prospects. And I call this post-sale value versus pre-sale value. So obviously post-sale value, when you actually get a client, you're doing this incredible deep dive discovery. You're very curious. You're very committed. You're gathering all these data points and you're really figuring out how can I design my program to get this new client who just paid me a big check the best possible outcome. Imagine if you took that discovery process that you do with a paying client and you took away the check and you took away the credit card and you were just as curious, you were just as committed, and you were just as caring with your prospect so that your discovery process before they become a client is incredibly valuable, incredibly insightful, incredibly helpful, incredibly generous, and they're left thinking, oh my gosh, we had these transactional, insignificant conversations with these other firms. When I got on the phone with Prosper, he was actually curious about what we do and how it works and what we've tried and what has worked and what hasn't worked and what our goals are and why our goals are our goals. And he gave us 2 or 3 gems right there in the call. I can't believe this. Imagine what we get when we become a client. And so that concept of the entire sales process is your first moment of discovery, right? So you're actually serving and helping and being radically generous in the sales process. That's what's going to start to separate people from commodity status to market eminence status.
Thank you so much for taking us there, because it really opens up so much. Because I'm understanding from what you're saying, if you understand your prospect's problem more than they understand it themselves, they automatically assume you've got the solution. But there comes also the predicament, or is that the word for it, that some people think I don't need to give too much upfront, otherwise that is going to take away from the value that I actually provide. And people should already come into my office already knowing that I'm this lawyer that does this, and I'm already billing by the hour.
Yes. So two aspects to that, and that's a great insight. That's a great nuance. I think what we do before that sales conversation happens is vitally important. So what do they see? What do they know? What have they experienced? What value have they gotten before they ever send that first email or make that first inquiry call? That is also super, super important. But I want to shift the conversation around this visibility, because when I say visibility, a lot of people are hearing, okay, I got to be more active on my blog. I got to put more time into my YouTube channel. I have to, be more active on my podcast. And that is not actually the case. What we need to do is we need to change the kind of content that we are sharing, because how-to content has been completely commoditized. So for all of our friends watching, my recommendation is you do not need to do any more how-to content. The internet has plenty of how-to content already, and AI can create how-to content better than you or me or any million people on the planet. So that game is over. That is done. Stick a fork in it. No more how-to content. So where do human beings have the edge? Human beings have the edge, not with the how-to, but with the how to think. How to think is a higher level, strategic, advisory, insight-based kind of content. How-to content is information-based. How to think content is based on insight. Now, the beauty of this is that AI does not have your insights. It is impossible for AI to have your insights because it is based on your lived experience. It is based on your expertise, your war stories, your lessons learned, all the things that you've done right, all the things that you've done wrong, your personal opinions, biases, recommendations, battle scars, all the dead ends, and all of the mistakes that you've made. Every client that you've ever had, every project that you've ever been on, all of that is filtered through your unique experience. And so that is what to share in the how to think category. Second category in your new content marketing plan to build your market eminence is belief shifting content that has a very specific point of view. So when you're shifting beliefs, what you're doing is you're separating the signal from the noise. You are being the guide or the Sherpa. You are helping people understand what's important and what's not. You're also helping people separate truths from myths or half-truths or outdated truths, things that are no longer true, no longer relevant, but are still commonly accepted in your industry. You're also calling out some BS. You're also calling out some things that you feel are holding the industry back or holding your clients back or not serving your clients or customers in a way that is in their best interest, that may even be harming your clients and prospects. So that belief shifting content is category 2 of your visibility strategy. And then the final category number 3, is how to get ready for what's coming next. So this is about future pacing. This is about trend spotting. This is about helping your followers see around corners and avoid getting blindsided or ambushed or surprised by something that they could have seen coming if someone only told them. If you were an early warning system for your industry that you're able to see 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months into the future, even if it's imperfectly, because none of us have perfect vision in the future, right? We're extrapolating. To some extent, we're even guessing. But if you have your finger on the pulse of what's really going on, and you can do like a trend report, or you can do, what's important for the next 12 months in XYZ industry, even if you're wrong half the time, let's say you have 10 predictions for 2026. If you have 10 predictions for 2026, 5 of them are incredibly valuable, incredibly on point, and you are able to save people in your target market from loss or being blindsided or surprised or ambushed by something negative, or give them the opportunity to early get on a trend or early do something that their competition isn't doing yet, no one's going to go back a year from now, Prosper, and say, Prosper and David came out with this list of 10 predictions in December of 2025. Turns out only 5 of them were true. 5 of them went absolutely nowhere. No one's going to go back and look at your predictions from last year. You do predictions right now, though, and people will say, oh my gosh, Prosper and David, they are so tapped in. They are so helpful. They're showing us what's coming down the road. They're showing us how to get ready. They're showing us what traps to avoid. They're showing us what opportunities to jump in on early based on their experience, their client successes, and so on. And so those 3 kinds of content, if you want to leave how-to behind, the 3 new areas to focus on: number 1, how to think; number 2, what to believe and what not to believe; number 3, how to get ready for what's coming next.
Well, absolutely. And thank you so much, because everyone is always looking for what's new, what's better, and how can they improve. And that's just the whole, essence of being human. And if you're the one that's literally leading from the front, that's literally thought leadership right there, right? But
exactly.
You did also mention the whole future pacing, and we were joking earlier on about how obviously when the pandemic sort of came in, there's a lot of people that had already somehow shifted to start working online, and people would have noticed that shift had sort of started happening. But there's a problem, maybe from when you were talking, I was just thinking some people might get too caught up in their opinion that they end up virtue signaling, which then leaves them in the dirt based on what is happening at that particular sort of moment. How do you then maybe make that sort of distinction so that you still stay relevant through whatever is going on, but also being future paced in such a way that you take people along with you?
Yes, I think that's a really, that's a nuanced question and a really great distinction. I think people can sense when an expert like you or an expert like me is doing something simply to bring glory or fame or some kind of fake, pseudo celebrity status on themselves, as opposed to if their come from is, I'm here to help, I'm here to serve, here's what I've seen, here's what I've learned. So when you say, here's what I've seen, here's what I've learned, you are the Sherpa, right? You are the guide. When people start, the other way to do this, the wrong way, is to start bragging about what you've done, right? Bragging about your big pile of accomplishments, your big pile of awards, how fantastic you are, that you're a, super duper amazing human being. Your agency has won all these awards. All of your consultants are 40 under 40 or 30 under 30 or 12 under 12, or I don't know what they are. But there's a sense that people get that you are looking out for their best interests, that you are a peer, but you're a peer who might be 2 or 3 steps ahead in a couple of areas. You're not perfect. You're taking yourself off the pedestal at every opportunity to make sure that you're still relatable and that you're still that friendly expert. But you need to be the friendly expert who helps them in these 3 areas. So I want to also draw another distinction that gets to your point about, if you bring too much, what is it? There's a great phrase that the Australians have. Is it buy tickets on yourself? It's something about tickets, right? When someone's really bragging, they have a lot of ego. It's they're buying tickets on themselves.
Yes. You're placing tickets on yourself,
or you have tickets on yourself or something. Yeah. Yes. So people hate that. Australian people hate that. American people hate that. All people hate that.
Tall poppy syndrome, they call it.
Yes, exactly. The tall poppy gets cut off. Yeah. So I think the come from, right? Your come from in your heart and in your soul needs to be one of radical generosity, radical helpfulness, because people can sense that. It's like a sixth sense, right? It's their internal compass goes, wait a minute, this person's just trying to be a big shot versus, wait a minute, this person's truly trying to help me. So I think that's the differentiator. And also just admitting, so here's my big problem with personal branding. Sometimes people ask me, well, MarketEminence, isn't that like really a personal branding effort? In my experience, personal branding is putting things on top of who you are, right? It's like putting on a bad fitting set of clothes that's kind of too big and a little bit itchy, and it's not really who you are. MarketEminence goes the other way. MarketEminence is a process of removing the filters, removing all the obstructions, and being more of who you already are. So with MarketEminence, you're coming from a place of authenticity and transparency and vulnerability. Part of that vulnerability is you're saying, listen, I don't know how these things are gonna roll out, but I've got some data. I've got some experience. I've got a little bit of, the crystal ball here is not perfect, but let me share what is in my crystal ball. Some of it might come true, half of it might come true. Honestly, none of it might come true, but here's what I want you to start being aware of and watch out for, right? If you start seeing things go this way, here's why that is happening. Here's what to do. Here's how to think. Here's how to get ready. So coming from a place of humility, but a place of service, that level of transparency and authenticity is what today's expertise really needs to look like, because we are living in this enormous deficit of trust, right? AI is putting out information by the terabyte. Most of that information is incomplete or somewhat incorrect. I think there was a research study that came out just maybe a few weeks ago from OpenAI. They did this big, massive study of millions and millions of AI queries. 85% accurate. 15% of the time, it's either wrong or making things up out of thin air. So obviously, if people are going into ChatGPT or all these other AI tools and they're just putting out the output of AI, they're going to be 15% wrong. Or 15% of the time, something's going to be wrong or inaccurate or fictionalized. So we're not fighting that battle, right? We're going in the different direction with personal experience, expertise, battle scars, war stories, experiences, being more you in the marketplace, being more human. So Prosper's job is to be more Prosper. David's job is to be more David. It's not to start churning out all of this AI-generated nonsense, because that ensures you'll sound like everybody else.
I really like that. And you really also encourage people in your book to be contrarian, right? To read that, because like you said, 85%, AI just automatically starts morphing into itself, and nothing is going to be obviously different. But we did talk about Tall Poppy, and I think maybe if we can just revisit it on that particular sort of lens of visibility.
Sure.
Some people think they're different just because they're not putting the M- in their posts, but they still are showing up that sort of thing. So how can someone actually start practicing that sort of contrarian way of being, so that they are actually visible in a way that their audience sees?
Yes. So let's do a little micro activity. So for our viewers and listeners, grab a piece of paper, grab your favorite notebook. I've got 3 prompts that will take your first couple of baby steps into developing your contrarian slant. And the first question is, I want you to think about some conventional wisdom in your field that you secretly think is completely wrong, but you've never publicly challenged. So if you're an accountant, if you're a lawyer, if you're a consultant of some kind, what wisdom, what conventional wisdom that is looked at as just a given truth do you secretly think is completely wrong? And maybe if you have a company, if you have a firm, you've already talked about it in meetings, and you've vowed not to do that practice anymore, but you've never, outside of your walls, you've never publicly challenged it. So that's question number 1. Question number 2, that will be a second doorway into starting to develop your contrarian slant. Question number 2, what harsh truth about your industry are clients desperate for someone to finally acknowledge openly? I call this, Prosper, I call this the elephant in the room question. We all know it. But it's an unmentionable. It's like a dirty little secret about our industry. And what if that harsh truth or that uncomfortable truth were brought out and you were the one to publicly acknowledge it in the open, and everyone's looking at this going, oh my God, I can't believe he said that out loud. I felt that way for years. I've always been frustrated by that practice. I've always been upset by the way that they do that thing, whatever it might be. Question number 3, to get your juices flowing on this. What strong point of view do you already hold? And this is really important. We're not putting this on. This is not a publicity stunt. This is not just being weird or contrarian for the sake of being weird or contrarian, but it's a strong point of view that you already hold in your heart genuinely that makes industry insiders uncomfortable, but that resonates deeply with your ideal clients. So I'll tell you where to gather this information. When clients come to you, new clients, or even new prospects, what do they complain about their previous provider, their previous experience? So if you're a law firm, right, maybe you're not this person's first law firm, they're leaving their old law firm, they're talking to you, right? What? Oh my God, they charged me $9 for a photocopy. Their hourly rate was $800 an hour. They didn't listen to me. They never returned my phone calls, right? And so all of these different complaints, whether you're a marketing agency, a law firm, a consulting firm, an engineering company, that you are probably not the first rodeo. You are probably not the first try that they've had to fix this problem. What do they complain about their previous firm that you hear over and over again as a pattern? And then how have you developed a strong point of view that says, I know that the other guys do this, we don't, and here's why?
You know what I like about that is, first of all, the aspect that you said, you speak what you give words, or you give voice to things that people can't say in their marketplace, because so many people are afraid of really, really standing out in such a way that they are then quoted by either media or things of that nature. And what I also liked about that is every one of these is a prompt. It's not like this is what you're supposed to do. This is not how to. And that's how you've also structured the book, Market Eminence. It's just filled with thinking prompts. It's not necessarily, like you've already cut out the how-to side of things. Well, why did he choose this format instead of traditional chapters of this is what you got to do, listen to me, because I've worked with more people than you could ever count on your finger?
Well, I'm not sure if I've worked with more people than you can ever imagine, but you bring up a good point. This book is very different. Now, it's funny because I had to walk the talk. If this book looked like and was structured in a way that every other business book was structured, but its premise and its theme is market eminence, which is around be different, be contrarian, go against the grain, do things that others are not willing to do, not able to do, or actually afraid to do. Everything I did with this book, I had to have that lens in mind. So I know that people are time strapped. I know that most of us are, we've got a million priorities. The last thing we need is another big wall of text business book. Now, truth be told, my 3 previous books were big wall of text business books. And they were great, and they were how-to books. So, but that was from 2013 to 2023 as those previous books. I had to write a book that was in alignment with the message of Market Eminence, which is you want to be different, you want to be contrarian, you want to go against the grain, You don't want to be just the best of the best. You want to be the only ones who do what you do. That comes from the great business philosopher Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. So being in this category of one, I realized that, okay, here's what we need. And this book is written for smart people. That's the other difference. That I didn't need to educate people about the basics. They already know the basics. This is about how to truly stand out, right? How to truly go to the next level. So there's a concept. There is a very quick definition, 3 to 5 lines usually. There is a page called How to Think, because again, I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid here and I'm taking my own advice. So it's not how to, but there is a section in each of the chapters called How to Think. There are exercises, and the exercises can be in the form of questions or reflections or things to think about or re-examine, either with yourself or with your team. Then there are Mind Spark questions, and I'll tell you a secret, Prosper. The Mind Spark questions are the same exact questions that I use when I go inside a company or when I go inside a professional services firm and we have a deep dive strategy day. I will go in with worksheets and tools that have those Mind Spark questions. So am I giving away a 5-figure consulting package between the covers of this book? Some people would say yes, but radically generous, radically helpful, right? You don't need to pay me 5 figures plus. You can get the book, read the book, take you and or your team through the book. And if you do the work and you apply yourself in that work and come up with really good answers, you will achieve what we achieve in our work together. Then there is, in addition to the Mind Spark questions, there's usually a pull quote at the end of the chapter that sort of sticks the landing. And that's it. So this is a perfect book for people who are scanners and skimmers. I wrote a book for people who actually don't like to read. And most CEOs and most founders like you and me, we have short attention span. We like it quick. We like it cut to the chase, get to the bottom line. And so this is a book that is ideal for people who are scanners and skimmers. They realize that they have a problem that they want to solve, and they want to get to the answers as soon as humanly possible. So that's why the structure of the book is the way that it is.
So that is so genius. And you know what I like about that is you're literally utilizing what you are giving to your high-paying clients, and you've managed to just compress that in a couple of pages. And if it was maybe a podcast or a TV show, there'll be commercials involved in all of that, space. So considering you've actually personally walked this journey, I mean, from CSP, best-selling author, congratulations on all the other books. You also have a top 1% podcast. What is it that you had to do to claim your own market eminence? Because this is something that happens with an inner shift from whatever is already happening. If you can maybe just point us to that particular aspect, because people just don't arrive at knowing that this is how it works,
That's right. Exactly right. So I think a lot of us, everyone watching, is probably more accomplished, has more value, has more credibility, expertise, and experience than they give themselves credit for. So not everyone is a genius, but everyone has some superpowers in some aspect of their business or their life. If you look back, and most of our careers make perfect sense in hindsight, that one thing led to this, and this led to that, and I would have never met this person. I would have never been prepared for this opportunity. I would have never gotten that promotion. I would have never changed companies. I would have never become an entrepreneur if it wasn't for this totally unlikely series of events. And so if you look at all of those things and you start to catalog all the different experiences, expertise, lessons learned. And by lessons learned, the people are thinking, oh, there's some magical moment where brilliance shot out of my forehead. This could be the lowest point in your career. This could be the darkest moments of your entrepreneurial business. but somehow it lit something up inside of you that was a transformational piece of wisdom. And so my career, I started out, whatever the 180-degree opposite of market eminence is, that's where I started out. Total generalist, totally clueless, knew nothing about marketing, knew nothing about sales. My business was a complete disaster for the first 3 years. I started this in 2002. Before that, I had a paycheck. I had benefits. I had health insurance. It was amazing. But in 2002, I started out, made every mistake in the book. I made the good ones twice, hit every dead end, hit every brick wall. And I realized that I had to start to learn about marketing and sales and client acquisition and business development. So I did that, and then I doubled down on my professional certification. So you were kind enough to mention Certified Speaking Professional, or CSP, from the National Speakers Association. I started to get some real traction and really kind of turn up the heat on building a team and doing amazing work for amazing clients. So then 2017, I was able to join the National Speakers Association $1 Million Speakers Group, which is folks that have a company that makes over $1 million. I was not personally making $1 million, but the company's revenue, top line revenue, was over $1 million. Started the podcast in 2017. 2017, 2018, I just stuck with it. And so part of this is simply bullheaded tenacity. It's like not wanting to quit. It's like, well, how'd you get this top 1% podcast status according to Listen Notes? My answer is I just didn't quit. I just didn't stop. So many people start a podcast, 5 episodes in, I'm not getting any leads. I quit. They start a YouTube channel, they post their first 3 videos. I'm not getting any views or likes or comments. I'm not using YouTube anymore. And so you gotta pick where you're placing your bets, and then you gotta go all in on those 2 or 3 channels, because everybody starts with 0 subscribers. Every new business starts with 0 clients and 0 revenue. Every blog starts with 0 readers. So don't let those small on disappointments. We all want things to happen way faster than they're ever going to happen. So when I look back on starting totally clueless, hopeless, and broke, earned the highest designation in the speaking profession, earned over 7 figures for 8 years running. So 2017 to 2025, we have over a 7-figure business. Having the top 1% podcast, it's like, I've lived this journey, but it shouldn't take you 20 years. So knowing what I know now, I'm able to compress that to 12 months or 18 months or 24 months for my clients. Not that they need the accolades or the external validation or the awards or anything like that, but tapping into what's been their success stories, right? What are the accolades and the recognition, whether it's public recognition or honestly private recognition? So what do your clients say about working with you? What do your best longstanding referral sources say about why they refer you? What do those referral sources then go back to their clients and say, well, how was it working with Prosper? Did that referral work out? Oh my God, Prosper's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm so glad you connected us. He totally blew open our content marketing, our SEO, our digital footprint, everything. So you want to maximize the assets that you have, and you want to do it in a systematic way that shortens the time and accelerates the speed that you get to that place of market eminence.
Absolutely love that. And obviously, in as much as you're speaking about market eminence and really showcasing, what I'm hearing is just build a platform that scales way beyond what you're doing right now, and puts you and safeguards your future in such a way that it's easy for people to see you, easy for people to pick you as their favorite choice. And
Yes.
It's actually easy for people to actually respect you because they see your track record and everything else that comes along with it.
Yes,
Now,
absolutely.
That is amazing. Now, where can people go on the internet to at least maybe find out, learn more about how you work, and maybe would they be shocked with the bill that comes in the mail after they've
I'm not sure if they'll be shocked or not. I don't think they'll be shocked after they read the Market Eminence book. But as far as resources, free downloads, tools, training, all of the things that connect to the Market Eminence concepts that we've been talking about today, MarketEminence.com is the place to go for all those free downloads, videos, trainings, and resources. As far as getting in touch with me and the rest of my empire, that is doitmarketing.com. As Prosper mentioned, I do have 3 other books previous to this, and blog is there, podcast is there, all kinds of other free resources are there. But as far as Market Eminence and everything we've been talking about today, the best place to go is marketeminence.com.
Fantastic. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes below, and we will definitely be utilizing that. But obviously, this will be, the last question to me, to you there, David. We're in a space and a place where everybody is just not sure what's coming next. You did mention AI has obliterated what people were holding on to, and people just now need some sort of answer. You're talking about future-proofing your business, becoming AI-proof, price-proof, and competition-proof. Where do you stand with artificial intelligence, just on a personal note?
Oh, I love AI. So it's funny. The book, you might think from reading the book on the surface that, oh, this guy's anti-AI. He hates AI. He thinks AI is going to take over the world. I love AI. I use AI almost daily for something or other. I think AI is a fantastic asset behind the scenes for brainstorming and for synthesizing and for researching. I think where we start to abdicate our voice and we start to abdicate our expertise is when we just go into AI, we go into our favorite, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and say, write me a 500-word article about 5 leadership tips. Give me a 750-word essay that I can put into my next LinkedIn newsletter. And you are literally abdicating, and you are giving up your position of expertise, experience, knowledge, track record, and credibility. Because what's AI going to do? AI is fabulous at 2 things. It is fabulous at content collection and pattern recognition or synthesis. So what does that mean? When you abdicate your leadership article to AI, it's going to collate, collect, and synthesize and pattern recognize everything that's been written about leadership in the whole universe and make your content look like all the rest. So it is a recipe for commoditization. It is a recipe for vanilla. It is a recipe for blending in. And that's the one use of AI that I would strongly encourage people away from. Everything else is amazing. Honestly, everything else is like magic. But abdicating your content to AI, big mistake.
Absolutely. Now, David, I can't thank you enough for the time that you spend with me on the call today. I mean, your life story, your experience, and what you've put together is definitely going to change the way people do business and how they actually show up in their marketplace. I kind of feel like once you've gone through this book, it's somewhat of a rite of passage. It's like a tap on the shoulder that it's your turn to lead, because you're literally giving people permission to think bigger, speak a little bit bolder, and just really step into that version of themselves that no longer hides in the shadows and is no longer afraid to really be the eminent one in the marketplace.
That's exactly right. It's about being more of who you are to grow your business and have more success.
Absolutely. But you've brought us in your world now, David. What's next? What can we be excited about that you're working on, that we're now jumping on and knowing that?
Well, this is like asking a parent who just has a newborn baby, hey, when's the next kid coming? It's like, no, I got to raise this kid. I got to raise this kid first. So I'm revving up my speaking calendar. So if there's a group out there, conference, association, group that would like a Market Eminence keynote or strategic work session, I'm happy to do that. Obviously, I've got private clients, and we do a deep dive day. We do a 90-day guided implementation around the ideas in the book. And obviously, I'm happy to chat with anyone, help in any way I can. But right now, as far as what's next, it's about bringing more of this Market Eminence work into the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. And for those that are watching or listening right now, whoa, what a journey. I mean, if today's episode really stirred something inside of you, that wasn't an accident. That was just your future tapping you on the shoulder, like I've said, because I feel like this was a rite of passage and just that permission giving moment in your life where you're thinking, wait a minute, what's next? All right. So this is what I want you to do. Go grab Market Eminence. Don't do anything right now. Look up Market Eminence. I'll put all the links in there, and go follow David on every platform. Like I said, I've been on his email list, and, because of the time difference, it's usually one of the first emails that I read every single day. And I want you to actually go out and take ownership of the place that you're meant to hold in your industry. We want to celebrate you as the eminent one. Okay. And obviously, if you don't understand this, well, you will pay the tax of obscurity. And let me tell you something, that is not something that you want to pay. And after today, you have no reason to be paying that anymore. And one other thing that I'm going to ask off of you is, please share this episode with somebody who you know is brilliant and is doing absolutely everything, but they don't seem to be visible in their marketplace. They probably need this tap on the shoulder if you would so please. And if somebody has shared this episode with you, the next time you see them, just give them a big hug, because I think this is the leap that was missing so that your business can actually be profitable and enjoyable. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this information today. David, thank you so much. And for those that are watching, bye for now.